Any update on Kevin after last night?
He's doing well. I guess we'd consider him day to day now, so he's still getting looked at a little bit, but he's doing well. So we're happy to say that for sure.
What does it do for a group when someone new like Anthony comes in, sticks up for his teammate, and provides that jolt in his first period?
Like, hey, a new guy, sure, but I thought we did a pretty good job of standing up for each other the whole night, and that's something that's important. So Anthony, I think he answered the bell, and a lot of people probably didn't expect him to in that situation. But I think that's what makes a good team is when they're there for each other. So whether you're a new guy or an old guy, it's important that you have that throughout your team.
What stands out for you as a takeaway, both negatively and positively from last night?
Well, the negative side of it would have been the start for sure. I thought we were running around a lot in the first period, and then you become a little bit undisciplined, and that's the difference in a lot of games. If you give too many power play opportunities to good teams, they're going to make you pay, and they did last night. And more often than not, you're not coming back from 4-1. What I did like about the game last night was that they didn't pack it in after the first period. I thought we did a really good job of starting to play the game we want to play, and we made it a little bit more difficult on Vancouver to play the game that they wanted to play. So we liked our second and third period, and that's something for us to build on.
Maybe easy to pinpoint from the outside and say, oh, they settled down and the emotions kind of jitters, whatever it was,
Yeah.
kind of went away. But for you, where did it change? Where did the shift take place? Was it something you said? Was it about composure? Where did you see it?
Composure for sure. That was one thing. The second period was a better period. How we were, as I mentioned, starting to play our game. But when we scored the second goal, when Andy was able to score that, I think we went into the intermission with a little bit more belief that, hey, now actually we can do this. So it's funny they've always said a 2-goal lead is the worst lead in hockey. So you go into the intermission, we were feeling a little bit better about ourselves, and maybe there's a little bit of doubt on the other side. But if you stick with it and you find a way to get one, now the other side gets a little bit tighter than they normally are. So I was just proud of the guys for staying with it.
With full marks to Zary for the move on the goal, but can you just, it felt like Pospisil did a great job sort of drawing attention to himself on that play as well.
He was the one that allowed that play to happen, so he had the speed from right behind the net in our own zone, so he forced, I believe it was Besser, to try to have to chase him down, and now there's traffic that's going in front of the goaltender's eyes, and Hronek had to deal with that as well. So a great individual play by Czar for sure, but I think it was set up by the speed that Poss played with and how he went to the net.
Felt like even before that goal, both of those guys had an impact on the game.
Poss, if we're speaking about him, I thought the third period was his best period, a little bit quiet early on in the game, but that line again in the third period, they were noticeable for me. And I thought Connor quietly put together a really solid game with Michael and Cole. So, yeah,
What
lots
can
of
you
good
bring
ones.
to that line that maybe previous partners of Backlund and Coleman might not have been able to bring in years past?
The one thing that separates Connor from a lot of players is his ability with the puck. So the puck possession game, we feel is the strength that he has. So I think when he has the puck, he controls it really well, and it allows Michael and Blake to do the hard things that they always do. So whether that's going to the net, creating a little bit of space, and then if Connor gets the puck, he's got the ability to make plays as long as his feet are moving. So hopefully that line can continue to build a little bit of chemistry like we've seen.
Did you ever have a Gordie Howe hat trick?
No. No, I can probably say that without a doubt. I never did.
I think it was 15 shot attempts between Rass and McKenzie last night. Just to see that from your blue line, how encouraging was that?
Very. McKenzie was shooting it a lot last year. I mean, he ended up with 20 goals for a reason. And I think Rasmus, all players leave here at the end of the year and they reflect a little bit about how they can make themselves a better player. And I think Raz now is at the stage where he recognizes that his shot is a weapon too for us. So he wants to use it more. So if we can generate a little bit more from the back end, if we can create some more traffic in front, we're going to give ourselves a chance to score. And you look at a lot of the goals that we scored last night, some of them were for quite a ways out. So if we can get those guys continuing to shoot, it's going to be a good thing for us.
When you look to mix Jonathan Huberdeau in a little bit more on the penalty kill, what do you see there that can make him effective in that role?
He reads the game like a skilled guy. So sometimes you're, as a coach, you're looking at it and you're like, geez, he's out of position, or that seam's open when you're standing on the bench. But it's almost like he flips it around as to what he would do, so he knows where to put his stick. So we've already seen him knock some passes and plays down with this stick, I think because he anticipates what a power play is going to try to do. But I think the biggest thing that it's done for him is it keeps him more in the game. So if we're having a game where we have 5 minor penalties or 4 minor penalties like we did in the first period last night, and he doesn't play at all in those situations, well, now he's a very cold player on the bench, and you're not going to get his best, whereas I think this keeps him involved in the game.
Losing a centerman that early on obviously means some bigger minutes for your middle guys, but how did you feel like they handled that? And it seemed like you were still able to kind of get all 4 lines engaged.
Yeah, as much as we could. I mean, it's tough when you lose someone early like that, because then you really do lean on CADs, you lean on backs. Posp's new in the role, so it makes it a bit of a challenge when it comes to face-offs. But I thought the 3 of them did a really good job for us, especially CADs and backs. Like, they had to take on a little bit heavier load than they probably would have anticipated for the first game of the year, but that's why they're pros.
And again, with the PK, obviously some different combinations, and we'll have to continue that way. I mean, is that going to be a little bit more of a trial, portion here?
Yeah, ideally we find pairs and partners that work really well together, and we do that sooner than later, because the way we see our team, there's going to be a lot of close games, and oftentimes the difference is going to be the penalty kill, it's going to be the power play. So it has to be something that's, when you look at our group, it has to be a separating factor for us that allows us to win games.